Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk about all major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I'm Chris, and today we're going to be uncovering a huge question right now out in the movie world, and that is, what happens after James Bond, No Time to Die? Specifically, who is going to be picking up the mantle from Daniel Craig's current James Bond as he enters his fifth and final movie? Now, the character himself is retired and living happily in Jamaica, but we all know that that isn't going to last as he is pulled out of retirement for one final mission. Now, in all of the trailers, we've seen that this is going to be a very exciting James Bond with a lot of old classic moments, as well as some new inclusions and expectations for James Bond. And as we jump into the 26th James Bond movie, making it one of the most successful franchises of all time, and also pretty high up there in the highest grossing franchises of all times, and as we jump into the final film for the seventh actor to play James Bond, the biggest question is surfacing. Who will be the next James Bond? Now, generally speaking, the 7 James Bond do have a lot in common. They're usually a white English male in their 35 to 40, 55 years old. It also seems a requirement that James Bond has kind of a suave and a confidence about him that makes him a pretty good spy and a very good ladies' man. That seems to be the ritual for this character moving on, and as we're looking for the 8th James Bond, assuming that this franchise is going to be continuing on, which, let's be honest, after 26 movies, why wouldn't it? We all are asking ourselves, who is going to pick up this mantle from Daniel Craig? And of course, there are some pretty obvious options that I think a lot of fans would like to see, namely two come to mind, Henry Cavill or Tom Hardy. Both being English men and white, suave, confident characters, they would fit the description very, very well, especially if Tom Hardy were to clean up and prepare himself for this crazy role, and Henry Cavill is already well ahead of that as he's a very clean gentleman, ready to play this role and probably would be willing if he were asked. But there's also other ideas on the table which in this now modern world seem to be possible. One namely Idris Elba, who you recently would have seen in Suicide Squad playing Bloodsport, and in a number of other high-profile films and franchises like Fast and Furious, MCU, and many others. However, it goes even deeper as we're talking to a current actress in a recent interview, and we get a little bit of insight as to who she thinks the next James Bond should be. Now, this isn't just her thoughts. There have been rumors for a long time that Lashana Lynch, who will be in this next James Bond film, should be picking up the mantle for James Bond. And what she has to say is nothing short of a confirmation that she also agrees, and very well could be the next 007 James Bond. The actress who plays an abrasive MI6 character who in many of the trailers is seen kind of mocking or making fun of James Bond for his style, when asked who the next James Bond should be, responded with this: "We are in a place in time where the industry is not just giving audiences what it thinks the audience wants. They are actually giving the audience what they want to give the audience. With Bond, it could be a man or woman. They could be white, black, Asian, mixed race, they could be young or old. At the end of the day, even if a 2-year-old was playing Bond, everyone would flock to the cinema to see what this 2-year-old's gonna do. No?" So she poses a very interesting preface as we move into the final Daniel Craig film, and that is anybody could be James Bond. Hey, it could be a 2-year-old, and people would still go watch James Bond movies. The question I have for you guys is that accurate? Could anybody play James Bond and you'd be okay with that? Since 1962, when the first James Bond movie had released, this proud franchise has had a way of doing things, but that doesn't necessarily mean it couldn't or can't be changed, and it definitely doesn't mean it won't be changed. So I'm curious, as you guys, the creators of the fan base, the members of the society that these films are made for, what are your thoughts on what Miss Lynch has to say in regards to 007? And as we move on, dream casting, fan casting, and guessing who the next James Bond is going to be, are you open to the idea of maybe a woman or a character of a different descent playing James Bond? I do have to say, I don't think I'd be that interested in a 2-year-old playing James Bond. I just don't see myself wanting to watch that film. But I am curious as to what you guys think. What's too far for you? What's the limit? And what's actually tolerable for the fan base? Definitely going to be a hot button question when it comes out into fruition, but I also do in some form believe that Miss Lynch is saying this to set the precedent for when she very well may become James Bond herself. Now, this is a rumor that has been going around since the very early production days of James Bond No Time to Die, which have passed and become very lengthy thanks to COVID, as we continue to await the release of this film, which should be coming out very, very soon here. But following that, the big question we're going to have is who is the next James Bond, as we hope to be moving into the 27th installment of this very, very large and proud franchise. In this video, more than ever, I'm curious what you guys think, so take a couple seconds, let me know in the comment section down below how you feel about this potential change, or what exactly it is you would hope or expect to see moving forward. Thank you guys so much for watching till the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily movie and television news updates, our weekly podcast, and everything else going on right here on Cosmic Culture.